What's up, friends? Chris here, back with another episode of the Chris Gates Fitness Podcast, and I am so excited that you're here because today is finally the day. My super secret project that you've been hearing about for months, for the entire year, is here. I am unbelievably excited to tell you about training camp. My online fitness training camp is open. Okay, and in this episode of the podcast, I'm going to tell you a bit about what it is and actually do that through sharing a Q&A with you. So I have, let me tell you about the program first and foremost. And if you want to learn all the details, go to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Okay, the link to that is in the show notes. This is really a culmination of the last 6 years, 6+ years of me being a coach. I have put all the resources, services, and support that I can possibly provide in one place. And I've created a membership, a fitness membership community that is a blend of both fitness and sports, right? The two things that I kind of love the most. I've put them all in one place and created a community where we can gather together as fitness enthusiasts, as sports fans, as people who want to chase their health and fitness goals, get support in doing that, and get networked with a group of like-minded people trying to do the same thing. We're going to blend fitness with sports together in a number of different ways where, we're going to have monthly workout programs that have some sport-specific exercises in there to help you feel more athletic, get the benefits out of doing some things that athletes do. I'm not going to try to turn you into a football player or anything like that, but we will do some things that are athletic in nature to help you improve your health and fitness and longevity. We're going to do challenges throughout the year where we dive into, fitness-specific things like eating protein, getting your step counts in, stuff like that. We're also going to do sports challenges. This fall, I'm planning on doing weekly football pick'em with everybody in training camp where, we just get in there, everybody picks some games. Who do you think is going to win this week? And at the end of the day, whoever does best, we're going to give away some free prizes for all the challenges like home gym equipment, supplements, coaching calls with me, all kinds of good stuff. So there's so much here. There is so much available in training camp. I can't even... There's no way I'd be able to mention it all on today's podcast because I'd have you here for hours. So again, make sure you hit that link, chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp to learn all the details. But what I'm going to play for you in today's episode of the podcast is actually a live Q&A that I did with the training camp membership. Okay, so I've been soft launching this program with a select number of people for a few months to, really make sure that this program is as amazing as I can possibly make it. And as part of doing that, we recently did our first live Q&A where everybody in the group gets to submit quite literally whatever questions they have on their mind, and I will answer literally every single one of them in the Q&A. So we dove into a bunch of good stuff. I'll run you through the questions that I answered. Some of them are just informational topics about training camp itself, and then there's some really good training and nutrition questions as well. So in today's episode, we'll talk about what type of flexibility is built into the workout programs that are available to people in training camp. Had a question about nutrition coaching. Is that available in training camp? And yes, there's a ton of support built in for nutrition, so you get to learn about that. People asked about how many months you can sign up for. I talked about that in today's Q&A. We talked about when the new workout programs come out and how you can kind of manage those to see progress and make sure that you stay consistent. And then I got some questions about training and nutrition, right? So somebody asked about, they're noticing their clothes just aren't quite fitting right and not sure what to do. Is it diet? Is it exercise? What tweaks or adjustments should they make? So I answered that question. I also talked about how to structure the workout programs moving forward. And then I got some exercise-specific questions about swapping exercises in and out, what to do when you have an injury, what to do when you go on vacation, how to manage everything with all that stuff in mind. So there's a lot of really good value in today's episode that's going to give you, I think, a really good feel for how training camp operates, the type of support that you can get in the group. And yeah, I'm so excited. Hit that link, chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Okay. And since you are a loyal listener to the podcast, I have a massive discount for you. So the program, the cool thing about training camp is that it's a monthly membership, right? There's no long-term commitment. You sign up, it's month to month for as long or as short as you want it to be. I hope that if you sign up, you'll be in there for a long time and make tons of progress and help create an amazing community of fitness enthusiasts and sports fans. But it's totally up to you. And it's only $50 a month, right? So it's less than what you probably spend on coffee each week. I just bought a t-shirt that was $40. I just bought a t-shirt for $40 the other day, and I couldn't help but think about how training camp is an amazing amount of value for like the cost of a t-shirt. So it's very, very inexpensive, which again is like, I want to lower the barrier to entry here. I want as many people to get the support that they need as possible. But on top of that, if you use the discount code podcast, use the discount code podcast when you sign up. So when you click on the link to sign up, it's going to take you to a normal page where you enter your credit card information. You have the ability to put in a discount code. If you use the discount code podcast, you can get your first month for $10, which is 80% off, and which is also like the cost of one drink at Starbucks. So make sure you take advantage of it. If nothing else, spend $10, get in there, get a feel for what training camp is like. And if you like it, stay. If you don't like it, go. It's all good, but I think you're going to love it. So use the discount code podcast. Go to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Click the link to sign up. Use the discount code podcast. Get your first month for $10. All right. And with that said, let's get into the Q&A. Here's a little taste of some of what we do in training camp. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope to see you in training camp. Training camp, what is up? What's up, everybody? Chris here, diving into the first live Q&A of training camp. I'm super, super excited about this. And got a lot of really good questions actually to dive into today. So I thought what I could do early on here is just walk you through, since this is the first Q&A, walk you through the nature of this, how things are going to operate, kind of the intention of why we do these Q&As and what you can expect. And then after that, while, giving people a chance to potentially jump in, here once you get notified. Then after that, dive into answering all the questions that we received. So received a few of them anonymously kind of throughout the sign-up process for folks who have joined the training camp program here. And then also had a couple of them posted to the Q&A announcement that I put in the group a few days ago. So that's probably going to be the way that this operates, is that, a couple days ahead of the Q&A. My goal is to always do these Q&As on Wednesdays at noon. I think that should be something that works out pretty well. I'm sure as time goes on that there will probably be instances where, we have to deviate from that a little bit. But, I think for the most part, Wednesdays at noon are going to be the regularly scheduled time for us to do Q&As. And so what I'll do is a couple of days ahead of that, post and just, ask for the questions that you may have that we can toss into the mix for the Q&A that is to come on that upcoming Wednesday. So the reason I like doing it like that is because I fully understand that most people actually will not be able to attend the Q&A live. Having it live is a great opportunity if you want and or need to get your questions answered and have a bit of back and forth conversation with me. We have the opportunity to do that. And, if you are tuning in live today, feel free to to drop a comment in there if you have questions or anything you'd like me to talk about, and I will absolutely do that. I can see your comments popping up in front of me here, so I can go ahead and address anything that may be on your mind. But like with that being the case, knowing that most people aren't able to attend the Q&As live, I don't want it to just restrict the questions to that time period. And then if you can't get in the Q&A, you can't ask your question and you never get your questions answered. I think it's really helpful to give you a couple days, think about the questions that you may have, go ahead and post them to that post that I put in the group. And then that'll be there for me so that I can make sure I address the questions that you have. And then whether you're able to attend live or if you want to watch the replay, I'll make sure that the replay of these Q&As gets posted in the group after the fact. You can get your questions, you can hear the answers to your questions, at whatever time is convenient for you. So that's the plan in terms of managing these Q&As. And like I said, I got a bunch of good questions for us to dive into here today. But first and foremost, I really, really do want to express my gratitude, my thanks to you for, putting your trust in me and being part of the founding members of Training Camp, being one of the first people to sign up for this program. It means the world to me because, at the end of the day, if you sign up for something to work with me, it means that you're putting your trust in me. And I promise you, I do not take that lightly. I take that very seriously. And I'm going to give you everything I have here. And I'm really excited about growing this community, but I'm going to give you every single piece of me that I have and that I can offer in terms of providing you with the resources and support that you need to chase your health and fitness goals. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. And, I may have expressed this to you in the lead up to, the early access launch of the program and everything, but this is something that I've worked my way towards over the last 6+ years as a coach. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time. If you've been following me for any period of time, you've probably seen that in previous years, I've done a Training Camp challenge. And even those challenges were, designed to help you in the moment, but they were also designed to kind of also help me figure out how this membership would work once I decide to launch it. And, I'm really excited that the time is here, that the program is here, that you are here. And I'm really, really excited about the future and how this community can grow, how we can support each other. I think this program has the opportunity to help a ton of people, and I'm really hoping that over time we can grow it with a supportive group. Obviously, sports fans too. That's kind of one of the unique aspects of this program and Training Camp is that we're doing things with fitness that kind of blend with sports, right? We're going to have training programs that have some sports-specific exercises in them, which is going to be a lot of fun. And it's not necessarily to train you like an athlete or turn you into, a baseball player or a football player. It's more so to help you develop some skills and some attributes that athletes work on that can just be very beneficial for you in your regular daily life. I think that's really important. And we could all benefit from being a little bit more athletic. We're also going to do fun stuff in the group, which, I'm sure I've expressed to you already where we're going to do like weekly football pick'em in the fall, have some fun challenges and really engage as a community in addition to you having workout programs to do, getting into these Q&As, getting your own personalized advice and whatnot. So, there's a lot of fun stuff to come, and I'm really excited about where this is headed. So, in terms of the nature of these Q&As, the point of this is really to it's an informal discussion, right? I mentioned before how you submit your questions, so I'm going to run through those in today's Q&A and just talk through them. If you present a question, if you submit a question for the Q&A, I will read your entire question, and then I will give you an answer. My goal is to answer every question. I think, on a weekly basis, if we do these on Wednesdays at noon, do the Q&A live for about an hour. And then if there's anything that doesn't get answered, my thought is then I can, record a second video where I answer all those additional questions and perhaps, just post that recorded version in the group as well. But I want everybody to get their questions answered. So that is my goal with every single Q&A is if you have a question, I will answer it and give you as much help and support as I possibly can. Okay. The Q&As are great for questions about the workouts, and we have a few of those today, about things like how can you customize the workout programs, information about individual exercises, really any questions that you may have about your workouts, I'm here to answer them. These Q&As are also great for questions about your nutrition, right? So we have the calorie calculator in there. There's various resources in Training Camp available to you, but getting personalized help with your nutrition to figure out what should your calories look like? What should your protein look like? How should you be managing your diet? Are there strategies you need to put in place? Things to game plan for, plan around, meal prep, meal planning, all that good stuff. Q&As are a great opportunity to ask about that as well. Okay. So I think these Q&As are really going to be part of what provides some of the highest level of support in Training Camp, which I'm really excited about. So like I said, we got a bunch of questions that kind of dive into some of those topics. We also have some questions just about, how Training Camp is going to operate. And I'm going to run through those first, kind of the ones that just break down different aspects of Training Camp. Then we'll get into a lot of the training and nutrition discussion. One more thing real quickly before we dive into the questions. If you have not introduced yourself yet in the Facebook group, I'm going to challenge you to do that, okay? Because like I said, we want this to be a community for everybody that's incredibly supportive. And I think as time goes on, we'll get to know each other a little bit. Like we're not going to dive into each other's personal lives, obviously, but getting to know people in the group is going to make it that much more fun to be part of the group. It's going to help us develop a level of accountability to each other. It's going to help us support each other when we know a little bit about each other. So I really want to push you to introduce yourself in the group. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Some people have introduced themselves already, which I love. But get in there, let people know your name, where you're from, what some of your goals are, and what you hope to get out of Training Camp. Obviously, again, with the sports tie-in, if you have anything you want to mention about sports too, feel free. I'm happy to talk at any point in time about football season, which is coming up very, very soon, and I'm very excited about. And I have no idea what to expect from my teams, which you can see behind my shoulders are the Steelers and Pitt. Literally no clue. So it's fun to talk about. But anyway, all right, let's get into the questions from today. And the first question I have, the first few of these were submitted anonymously. Okay, so and I guess that's one thing I should mention is you'll see in the post that I made in the group where I said, okay, let's Q&A time. It's going to come on Wednesday. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. But I also provided a link to a Google form. Okay. And so I want you to know that if you don't feel comfortable asking your questions out in the open, you can submit them anonymously in a number of ways. The group is going to allow you to submit a post or a comment anonymously. You can just toggle to submit it anonymously and your name and your picture won't show up. You can do that. Obviously, since it is going to be a supportive place for all of us to gather, I hope that you feel comfortable, just posting things in the group with everybody else. But that option is there. And then also I have a Google form link where, if you want to just drop a question in there, you can do that as well. So let's dive into the first question, which is, what kind of flexibility is there in the workout programs for people to participate? And this is a great question. And what you will already see in the training program tab, if you're in the members only section of the website and you click on training programs, for this month, for the month of July, there are a number of different options, right? There are 2-day, 3-day, and 4-day training programs available both for at home with dumbbells or if you're working out in a full gym, right? So there's a number of different daily workout options with, different access to equipment available to you. And something that you can do, and I think this is helpful for a lot of people, is your week may change week to week. Ideally, we have the same Monday through Friday and every day is standardized and we can just go through the same routine, right? Every day, every week. But that's not realistic. That's not how life happens. So part of why I'm creating that many variations of the program is ideally, I think if you want to, in general, train 3 days a week, then you should use the 3-day-a-week program for either at home with dumbbells or, the full gym. But if you have a day or you have a week where it gets really crazy and you're only going to be able to work out 2 days that week, well, let's say you go through weeks 1 and 2 of the 3-day program, and then you get to week 3, and you're only going to be able to get 2 days in. Well, you could go into the 2-day program and just do the week 3 workouts from the 2-day program. And that'll help you stay on track. It'll help keep things structured. It'll help make sure that you're continuing to progress, right? You're still hitting all of the necessary muscle groups and movement patterns and just doing all, ticking all the boxes. That's something that's built into the nature of training camp that's going to help you. And to answer that question about like what type of flexibility is there, that's a major component to it. You'll also see, especially in the spreadsheets where you download the spreadsheets that show the workout program with all the different days, the exercises that are linked to the tutorials, and there's a column in there that says muscle group. So you'll see in there with the column that says muscle group, for each exercise, it tells you what muscle group you're training. And so if you have an exercise that's in the program that maybe you either don't have the equipment to be able to do it, or it's an exercise that like you just don't feel comfortable when you're doing it, maybe it causes a little bit of pain or discomfort, or you're just not confident enough with doing it, you'd like to do something else. The reason it says muscle group, and the reason we have that column, and the reason that we're outlining exactly what muscle group you're training for each exercise, is so that if you need to make a swap, you can go into the exercise library, which again is in the members only section. You can go into the exercise library and find a different exercise that trains that same muscle group. Okay, so that's another avenue where I've tried to build in a ton of flexibility for you to be able to customize this if you need to or if you want to. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. And then again, like if you want to hop in the Q&A some week and ask questions about how to make swaps or how to customize or game plan for your week or month, and put a strategy in place to incorporate some of that flexibility, we absolutely can. But those are ways that I've built in flexibility. It's inherently built into the training programs to help you just get the most out of them. Okay, so really good question there. Okay, question number 2, is there nutrition coaching available in training camp? So mentioned a little bit about this before, but essentially yeah, but it's a little bit different than the training program. So obviously with the training program, releasing a new training program every month, and you get specifically like these are the workouts that you're going to be doing, the exercises that you're going to be doing, all that good stuff. The Q&As are honestly a great option, an opportunity for you to get some of that nutrition coaching. We have in the additional resources section of training camp, the calorie calculator, which is going to help you set up your calories, protein, carbs, fats. There's a diet guide in there to help walk you through just the rationale and approach to flexible dieting. There's the macros cheat sheet in there that gives you, some basic information about how to build meals and whatnot. And all of that should be very helpful. It's kind of foundational information to help you build your diet, right? But if you have, more specific questions about you specifically, your goals, how you should make tweaks or adjustments, how to game plan for any situations that you have coming up. If you're running into struggles and you have questions about how to overcome them, the Q&As are really where we can get into the meat of that. So I would encourage you to get as specific and detailed and as personal to you as you want and or need to with your questions for these Q&As. Because chances are, if you have questions about this stuff, somebody else here has the same question. So I really think we can all benefit from, you personally can benefit from getting your individual question answered, but everybody else listening or watching can still get benefit from hearing your question answered as well, because most of the time, somebody else has the same exact question. So Q&As are a great opportunity to get personalized guidance on nutrition. And then there's also a bunch of those resources in there in the additional resources section of the members only page where you can get additional resources, which is why it's called the additional resources page. And then I guess the last thing I would say is the group is always here for you as well. And I'm always in the group. So if you have questions and you don't want to wait till the Q&A, you want to just post it as a post in the training camp private group, go for it, because I'm in there multiple times a day checking things out, and I would be happy to dive in and answer your question whenever, right? So I'm in there every day, multiple times a day, and I'm happy to help you in that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get nutrition coaching in this group, and hopefully one or several of those will work for you. All right, somebody asked, how many months can I sign up for? And this is an easy one to answer because you don't have to worry about that. The cool thing, and I know some of you have worked with me one-on-one before, so you know that there's like a monthly minimum to sign up. And there's none of that here for training camp. This is a program that I want to be easily accessible to people. It's a low-cost option. There's no monthly commitment. So you sign up and you're in this group for as long as you want to be here. And I and we in the group are going to support you for as long as you are here. We hope that you stay for a long time and make tons of progress, but there's no commitment, right? So you sign up, you participate for as long as you want to. You can cancel at any time. It's supposed to be very low barrier to entry, a low stress situation, but full of resources and accountability and support to hopefully keep you hanging around and making tons of progress and participating in the community. So that's an easy answer for that one. Okay, when do the new workout programs come out? That's another question I got about just in general with training camp. And super straightforward for this one as well. New workout programs, new training programs are going to come out on the first of the month every month. Okay, so coming up on August 1st, we will have a brand new workout program for you to participate in. If you're doing the July program right now, it's kind of like a baseball rotational-ish. There's a little twist to it with that focus in mind. As we get into August, we're going to transition, and for a couple of months at least, we're going to do some football stuff. So maybe some more like explosive exercises to really help you feel athletic, which is going to be fun. But that will come out on the first of the month, and a new workout program comes out on the first of the month each month. I will structure them in a way so like as we look at the month of August, the first of the month is a Thursday. So what I will likely do for that month of August is like, it'll be 4 weeks of workouts that logically for you probably will start on Monday, August 5th and end, that final week of August. But the easiest way to set it up is to deliver a brand new program to you at the beginning of every month. So that's the plan. I will provide an overview video with each program. So you'll see, for the July program right now, if you go check that out, there's a overview video from me walking you through a lot of the details for this month's program. I'll do that every month just to give you some details that I think are necessary for you to know. Would highly recommend that you watch those overview videos. They're not going to be super long, at like 10 minutes at the most, but you'll get a ton of details that I think should be super helpful. Again, sports-specific stuff will be coming, and we're going to focus on football in the coming months, which I think will be great. Okay, then we can dive into, I have, looks like I think 3 more questions here that are more specifically like training and nutrition questions. So let's get into it. First one, I've noticed, especially in shirts, that my clothes just aren't fitting right. Maybe I'm not watching my diet enough, not working quite hard enough with walking and the weights, too much beer. I don't know. Okay, so great question. And let's dive into it. When we're talking about clothes just aren't fitting right, normally that is a situation where, the shirts around the waist are fitting tighter, your pants are fitting tighter around the waist. Just noticing that, maybe you're putting on a little bit of body fat and wondering why. So the place that 99% of the time, the root of the issue is going to start and end with nutrition. It's rarely because you're not doing enough from an exercise standpoint. It's almost always when we're talking about changes in body composition and putting on body fat, it's almost always going to start and end with your diet. So in this situation where you're noticing shirts are fitting tighter, clothes just aren't fitting right, and not sure what to do, I would highly recommend, if you're not doing it already, meticulously tracking your diet for 1 to 2 weeks. And as you're doing that, don't radically change the nature of what you're eating. And I know that can be hard. Like inherently, when we start tracking our diet, you naturally kind of gravitate to wanting to eat healthier options because you don't want to, I guess, see like the calories get up too high or see that you're eating foods that you maybe consider quote unquote bad. It's hard to do that, but I think it's important in these situations to track your regular intake to truly get an understanding of what that regular intake is. Because then you can get a really good feel for, if we do it for 2 weeks, we get a really good feel for, on average, what do your daily calories look like? They may be wildly different from day to day, but if we can average it out from, week 1 and then week 2, you can get a good idea of, on average, what you're taking in. And those averages are typically the things we need to focus on the most, because then that can help us set some more specific goals on a daily and weekly basis. So if you do that and you get a solid view of what your daily average calorie intake is, then you can pretty easily figure out how to reduce by 10 or 15%. So if you find out you're eating 3,000 calories a day, you could reduce by 300 to 500 calories, eat maybe 2,500 calories, continue to track that meticulously for another 1 to 2 weeks, and track your body composition to see how things evolve. So take, regular weigh-ins, waist measurements, progress photos, all those things that are outlined in the guide to body composition tracking, which once again is available to you in the additional resources section. That's going to really help you figure out what tweaks or adjustments need to be made. On the exercise side of things, exercise is more or less, you could simply break it down to being a stimulus, right? It's a stimulus for your body to adapt. So if you want to build muscle, you need to get in the gym, lift weights, and do something that causes your body to actually have to adapt to it. When we're talking about fat loss, the stimulus that you give your body in the gym is not going to necessarily directly stimulate fat loss. You need to be in a calorie deficit to stimulate fat loss, which means you're eating fewer calories from food than your body burns. And now, if you go into your account in Training Camp, or just go to the members only page and click on courses, you'll see there are 4 courses. And I'm going to pull this up in front of me on my computer. There are 4 courses already available to you in Training Camp. Course number 1, welcome to Training Camp. Just a bunch of overview information. Course number 2, guidelines for Training Camp. Again, overview information, but gets a bit more specific into the how to manage your training, how to manage your nutrition, that type of stuff. Course number 3 and course number 4 are going to actually give you a ton of information that's very, very relevant to this question. Course number 3 is how to calculate your calories. And in that course, there's an entire module, an entire module set up to explain a calorie deficit for fat loss. Would highly recommend that you watch that course, okay? And then course number 4, how to correctly track your body composition. There's a module in there that is going to actually walk you through the specifics, and I'm going to show you specifically how to track those body composition measurements so that you can figure out how to track your progress. Would highly recommend you get in there, watch all of the courses, all of the modules, but 3 and 4 specifically for this question are going to be really helpful. I say this a lot on the podcast, and I say it a lot to clients too. Your diet is going to be considerably more important than exercising for fat loss. And I don't want that to come off as exercising is not important for fat loss, because it is. But your diet for fat loss, you have to be in a calorie deficit. You have to be consuming fewer calories than your body burns in order to lose body fat, okay? Millions and millions of people have lost body fat without ever doing a planned workout, and that's because they've gotten themselves in a calorie deficit. Now, training while trying to lose fat is definitely beneficial. And, when we're talking about fat loss, strength training in particular is the best form of exercise you can do for fat loss because, it signals to the body that we're strength training, so we need muscle mass, so we need to hold on to muscle mass or build muscle mass. But if you're in a calorie deficit, that means your body has to figure out where to get energy from. It's not going to take it from muscle because you're using your muscles, so it takes it from body fat, right? So I don't want it to come off that exercise is not important. It's extremely important, but fat loss cannot happen in the absence of a calorie deficit. You have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose body fat. So that's where you need to start. That's where you need to start for this question. Give yourself time, because fat loss takes time. And I would really encourage you to be meticulous about your tracking and give it 2 to 4 weeks to try and figure out what your average intake is and then what you need to do after the fact. And if you have questions about that as you go through that process, post them in the group, post them in the next Q&A. Keep us updated. We would be happy to continue to walk you through this one week to week, okay? But really good question. Okay, last 2 questions. These were posted in the group. So let's get into DJ said, hey, Chris, just going through the workouts and I have a suggestion. Would it be possible to have each week on its own tab so we can print out and put in our workout notebook? That's a great suggestion. I would love to know if anybody else thinks that would be beneficial. That's super easy to do. So what DJ is asking about is, again, if we go back to how the training programs are structured, we have all of those different options that you can choose from. I also have them in different formats because I know some people would just like a visual, like easy to look at and reference guide that they can pull up in the gym. Some people really like the spreadsheet where you can get really meticulous. Some people like to utilize both. In the spreadsheet, there's just one tab and all the weeks are, it's week 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all listed next to each other. So what DJ is suggesting is that, you can create new tabs in a spreadsheet at the bottom where, okay, week 1 would be its own tab, week 2 would be its own tab, and so on and so forth. So I can absolutely do that. And, what I'll do is, unless there's any real big objection from folks in the group, what I'll do for next month's program is I can give that a shot, and I would love to get all of your feedback on that type of setup. So we'll plan to do that for August, if that works for all of yins. Okay. And our last question today from Michael. He says, 2 questions here. Hey, Chris, got a late start to the month due to injury and vacation. I see that I could do weeks 3 and 4 and then do the deload, but what is best to do since I will only get 3 out of 5 weeks done? Exercises are the same for the 3-day workout and not concerned about the reps and the weight. Just figured the deload week could or should be skipped. What are your thoughts? And yeah, I agree with your last point there. If you weren't able to do all of the weeks of workouts, you probably don't need a deload week, right? Because you've already taken some time off. So I think you can, in this instance, get rid of the deload week. That deload week is also there partly because for the folks who have been soft launching this program with me over the last few months, we haven't taken a deload yet. So I put the deload in there because July, we have look at the calendar again. We have almost 5 full weeks if you go think about Monday through Friday. So it made sense to kind of put a deload week in there for the last one. But I think you can skip the deload week in this instance. And now let me look back at your question. And so what I would say is if you get a late start to the month and maybe in the first week or 2, you're not able to hit week 1, I would not suggest that you start with week 3 on the 3rd week of the month just because it's the 3rd week of the month. Really, actually, what I would encourage you to do is start with week 1, okay? Because with any of these workout programs that we have, there's a progression built into it. There's a progression built into it that takes you from week 1 to week 2, to week 3, to week 4, right? There's little incremental steps forward that we take. And week 1 kind of establishes the baseline. So if you're out of the 5 weeks in July, if you're only able to do 3 of them, start with week 1 of the program, do weeks 1, 2, and 3. And then when the August program drops, you can either decide to continue with the July program and finish it, or you can jump into the August program. And that's a good point to mention as well. As training camp evolves and as the months go on and as we design more and more training programs, you have the ability to kind of choose your own adventure here. If you find that you really, really enjoy one of the programs, Like, let's say the July program right now, you're really enjoying it. By week 4, week 5, you're making tons of progress, and you don't necessarily want to change things up yet because you are making so much progress. You could certainly continue going with the July program, even though I'm going to launch an August program in August. You're still able to do all the other stuff in training camp that's available to you, right? There's still tons of support built in. And I want you to, just like you can mix and match the different workout routines, from 2-day to 3-day to 4-day at home in the gym, you also have the ability to kind of scale this in a way that makes the most sense to you. So, if you do pick up, Mike, if you pick up with the July program here and do the first 3 weeks and you're really enjoying it and you want to finish the July program, even though the month goes into August, that's okay. You can still do that. And, all of these programs are going to be archived on the site. So you'll always have the ability to dive back into old programs. If you want to revisit something at some point, you can choose your own adventure is the best way that I can put it. All right, let's get into Mike's final question. Okay, he said, just a suggestion looking at the monthly workouts. As you suggested, when combining home and gym workouts in a week that we can mix and match, if the exercises are nearly identical, looking at the 3-day workout, are the hip thrusts and dumbbell Romanian deadlifts equivalent? I noticed they are listed on days 1 and 3 and differently between the home and gym workouts, but pretty much identical. Wasn't sure how they could be interchanged. This is a great question. I love the level of detail this one gets into. And Mike, you're right. So in terms of just like the nature of those exercises, they would both fall into the category of being hip hinge exercises where, even though like a dumbbell Romanian deadlift, you're kind of like lowering the weight under control and then exploding back up. Whereas was the other one you mentioned, the hip thrusts. With the hip thrust, you would be thrusting your hips up. And if you had weight on it, you'd be thrusting that weight up. You're moving your hips. Your hips are the primary mover in that exercise. You're going to be training both your glutes and hamstrings of that exercise. So I think you can feel free to mix and match and swap those in. Just like I said, the exercise library and those muscle groups that are identified in the program are there to help you make those type of customizations if you want to. So I definitely think, if you want to swap one of those in for the other, it's going to get you very close to the same stimulus, and you should be all good to go. So that's going to wrap it up. That's the last question I have. This was awesome. I had a lot of fun. I hope at whatever time you watch this video, you got a lot out of it. And like I said, I'm really appreciative of you being here. I'm so excited about what is to come. A little bit stressed, a little bit nervous, but I'm so excited about what is to come. And I really appreciate you being here, putting your trust in me. And we're off to a great start. This was a great first Q&A. Really, really good questions. Let's make use of these Q&As here as we move forward. Make use of the group. Like I said before, if you haven't introduced yourself yet, get on it, okay? I want you to get on it, introduce yourself in the group, and let's have a great rest of the week. Thanks so much. Talk to you again next week.